Hey, what's up everybody, it's BaldGuyAce. Since my original combat leveling guide from last year is now outdated, I wanted to make an updated guide on how to best get combat experience on Hypixel Skyblock. I'm always coming out with new guides, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on my next one. Also, make sure to read my full video description so that you can see the links to all my other social media accounts, as well as my Discord server, which you're welcome to join. By the way, even if you might know a lot of the stuff I'm about to say in this guide, make sure to watch the entire video so that you don't miss out on any random tips that I'm going to be giving along the way. So the fastest way to gain combat experience is to buy a splash and do Revenant Horror Tier 4 Slayers over and over until your splash runs out. Then get another splash and do it all over again. So if you have unlimited money and good gear, doing Tier 4 is definitely the way you'd want to level up your combat, but it's extremely expensive as each Tier 4 Slayer quest costs 50,000 coins and you'll be finishing them really fast. So instead of Tier 4, I highly recommend doing Tier 3. Although Tier 3 is probably around 30 to 40% slower than Tier 4, there's a couple reasons why I recommend it. Not only is it much cheaper than Tier 4, as it's only 10,000 coins for each Tier 3 quest, but it's also much easier. You should be able to do a Tier 3 with an aspect of the dragons and just young or better dragon armor. Also, because it's a lot easier to do Tier 3s without the risk of dying, you can do them while watching Netflix or YouTube, and this is important because it means that you can level your combat for a lot longer without getting bored. If you're doing Tier 4s and you look away for just a little bit, you might get killed by a mini-boss or the boss. But with Tier 3s, you can pay much less attention and still complete them without having to worry. Over a long period of time, this really helps since it stops you from burning out and giving up on your leveling. So even though Tier 3s are a bit slower than Tier 4s, I think they're much more worth doing. But regardless of which tier you do choose to do, there's a few things that you're going to want to do to speed up the amount of experience that you get. First, you want to make sure that you use a legendary wolf pet. A wolf can raise your combat experience by up to 30% depending on its level, so you definitely want to equip one. In order to boost your combat XP even further, you should kill the Tier 1 through Tier 4 bosses from each Slayer type one time each. This is because when you kill a Slayer tier boss for the first time, you get a permanent percentage boost to your combat XP gain. For each Tier 1, 2, or 3 boss, you get a 1% gain, and for each Tier 4 boss, you get a 2% gain. It's okay if you can't kill some of the higher level bosses for now, but you definitely want to kill as many of them as you can so that you can get that permanent XP boost. And of course you want to make sure you buy a splash, as a good splash will not only help you move and attack faster, but it also gives you an extra 30% combat XP from the Combat Experience Boost 3 potion and the Experience 1 potion. Next, this might be obvious, but you want to make sure you're doing your Revenant Slayer quests inside the crypt, where you have crypt ghouls with 2000 HP each. You don't want to do it outside the crypt because the zombies out there give very little XP. While killing the regular crypt ghouls, it's a bit faster to use a bow, such as a Runan's bow or something higher. You can then switch back to your sword to kill the mini-boss and the boss, or anything that has a higher HP than 2000. Once you get your Revenant Horror Slayer level to 6, I highly recommend buying or making a Reaper Falchion. You'd want to put all the same enchants on your Reaper Falchion that you'd have on an aspect of the dragons, except instead of Sharp, you want to use Smite. You might also want to add Venomous, since Venomous is no longer bugged. In case you're curious, these are all the enchants that I have on the Reaper Falchion that I'm using. It's one that I just bought off the auction house, but I think all these enchants are pretty good. A Reaper Falchion, even though it's not necessary, will greatly speed up your runs, which in turn will speed up the amount of XP you get per hour, so it's definitely recommended. But make sure you don't get one until after you hit Revenant Horror level 6, because it won't actually work if you get one before that. This next tip might be an obvious one, but you definitely want to have a Maddox Bat Phone. The Bat Phone lets you turn in your quest and accept a new one without having to run all the way back to Maddox at the bar every time you finish one. If you don't yet have a bat phone, you'll get one automatically when you hit Wolf Slayer level 3. So you'll want to make sure you level up your Wolf Slayer to 3 as soon as possible. One other thing to keep in mind is that you lose the effects of your splash if you die. So that's another reason that you might want to do Tier 3 Revenant Horrors instead of Tier 4. Even if you're usually pretty good at doing Tier 4s most of the time, all it takes is messing up once and you'll lose your entire splash and have to waste time waiting to buy another one. So I'd recommend just sticking to Tier 3, watching some Netflix, and letting that combat XP roll in. So anyway, I really hope this guide helped you out. I plan on coming out with many more guides in the future, so even if you already knew the stuff in this guide, my next guide might have something that you don't know in it, so you're definitely going to want to hit that subscribe button. Well, thanks a lot for watching, and until my next video, I'm BaldGuyAce, reminding you to embrace the baldness.